Aloha. You know, before I start, I want to tell a story about this cutout over here at Coach Yagi. Darren Igawa, where are you? You're here somewhere, right over there. Very talented, works in graphic services at the university. He made that right before the pandemic, and when it was determined that we couldn't have fans, we made sure to bring that cutout to every single home game. Coach Yagi never missed a game during the pandemic, except for once. And I'm going to tell you a story. I used to call Coach most times on the way home after a game, and we talk about the game because he watched the game on the live stream. And there was one time we forgot the cutout. And he said, "Hey, why wasn't I at the game tonight?" And I said, "Sorry, Coach, it won't happen again." So I can tell you, from here to eternity, Coach will have a seat at center court at every one of our home games. You know, I just want to say being asked to provide the eulogy for Coach Yagi is one of my life's great honors. And I want to thank Auntie Jeannie and Kirby and Brady for allowing me to give this eulogy today. But before I start, I really want to thank Auntie Jeannie for being such an incredible caretaker for Coach over these last several years and being such a great companion and partner to him. How many times while he was in the hospital this last time that he talked about how fantastic you were and how he couldn't live without you. So yeah, she wants me to stop, but I'm not going to because she really deserves a tremendous amount of credit. And so thank you so much, Auntie Jeannie. Coach was born here and raised in Hilo on February 18th, 1935. He passed peacefully on June 14th, 2023. He was 88 years old. He's survived by his wife, Jeannie, sons Kirby and his life partner, Cheryl, Brady and his life partner, Barbara, brother Dr. Dixon Yagi, and sister Delna Okazaki, and her husband, Guillen. Brother and sister-in-law, Jim and Ann Sadayasu, and many nieces, nephews, cousins, and an aunt. He was predeceased by his father, James, and mother, Kameko, sister Eleanor Zinger, and his first wife, Carol Yagi. Coach Yagi graduated from UH Manoa in 1957, but first, Hilo High School, go Vikings, where he was a star basketball player on the JV team. He did so well, he was elevated to the varsity team at UH Manoa, where he had limited playing time and told me many times he wished he stayed on the JV team so he could play. And once he told me, I believe it was USC they were playing when he was on the varsity team. Back then, if you didn't have a stat, your name did not appear in the box score. And so he played a little, but he didn't have a stat. And he told me he wished he would at least turn the ball over or shot a shot at half court or something. That way his name would have been in the box score. He also was a proud veteran. He served our country in the U.S. Army, was based in Oakland and also France, where, yeah, you guessed it, he played on the city basketball team with all those Frenchmen. On a personal note, I wore this Aloha shirt today. It does have special meaning to me because Auntie Jeannie and Coach Yagi helped me pick it out when I interviewed for this job more than 8 years ago. And I'm surprised it still fits 40 pounds later. You know, the words great, legend, and icon are bandied about and used so commonly these days that sometimes they've lost a little bit of their meaning. But Coach Yagi truly did epitomize these words. Not only was he a great coach, more importantly, he was a great educator, teacher, and mentor to literally thousands here in Hawaii and all around the world. On the court, his records speak for themselves. He still is, to this day, the all-time winningest coach. Kaniela, you got some winning to do. He had a 252 win, 126 loss record, and if you do the math, it's almost a 70 winning percentage, and that came against a lot of Division I teams. Georgetown he played 4 times, New Mexico, UNLV. Yes, he beat Creighton, my fiance's alma mater. He captured 3 regional championships and made 3 NAIA national appearances. This led to his legendary status that made Adidas come calling for him in 1986 after he retired. And he was asked to take a young Kobe Bryant, a 19-year-old Kobe Bryant, on a tour of Japan, and so many other NBA greats. While traveling the world and doing camps and clinics was a great honor for Coach, what truly cemented his legend and iconic status was his beloved Vulcans basketball school that continues to this day, and July 20th we'll be doing it for the 48th straight year. Yes, there's still spaces available. Come on by the athletics department. But, of course, Coach was always careful to give credit on this camp. It was Coach Herb Livesey and Ramon Goya that really got this camp up and running. And I can truly say that while teaching basketball fundamentals was one of the goals, it was teaching life skills through lessons through the sport of basketball that brought him great pride. One can't forget hearing Coach instill to the campers, and I'll always remember, be on time, pay attention, be enthusiastic, and have fun, fun, fun. Yeah. So while he was proud, he was quick to give credit to others. He learned the value of hard work and integrity from his father, James, and he called his mother, Kameko, the best coach he ever had. He taught those values and spoke of his mother often to the participants at the Vulcan camps. He also told me on many occasions that there would be no Coach Yagi if it wasn't for his dear friend, Ramon Goya. It was Ramon who hired Coach and supported him all those years. They had a wonderful relationship and bond and truly loved one another. Ramon is the father, or grandfather, sorry, Ramon, of Vulcan athletics. He is another one of the greats of our community and a Hilo icon. We would not be where we are today in the Vulcan athletics program if it wasn't for Ramon and Coach Yagi. Of course, there were others, Sharon Peterson, Joey Estrella, and numerous Vulcan boosters over the years, but it was Coach and Ramon at the beginning of it all. And while he might be mad at me for saying, I always wanted to make sure that I acknowledge Ramon publicly, as it is so well deserved, and I'm so grateful to have him here today. Not everyone knows this, but Coach Yagi and Auntie Jean insisted that I live with them when I first moved here. Coach Yagi for sure. Auntie Jean? I'm not so sure. So they insisted that I lived with them until I found a place of my own, and I was blessed to live my first 3 months with Coach and Jeannie. During that time, Coach and I were joined at the hip. I learned all about the rubbish dump. And somebody moving here from Southern California, it's like, what the heck is a rubbish dump? But I learned all about the rubbish dump. Shopping at KTA, we went to dinner, local high school games, you name it. Coach Yagi was my homie. But most importantly, for me at least, he introduced me to so many people in our community and vouched for me. And if Coach Yagi vouches for you, well, that's just gold. One thing I will never forget and I will always be grateful for. Another thing I will never forget is Monday through Friday, this guy, a living legend, would wake up early in the morning and make me breakfast. Always papaya and toast. Can you imagine this legend, this icon, waking up every morning and making me breakfast? That was Coach. He embodied all that was good and was the essence of the Aloha spirit. You know, one thing I just on a sidetrack here a little bit, if you'll indulge me, when I was living there at 1320 Komahana, what amazed me was, I think Coach at that time was either 79 or 80, and he was in far better shape than I was. Far better shape. I don't know how many miles a day he was swimming. This guy had this exercise machine. It was a wheel with 2 handlebars on the side of it. And I remember one night, it was like midnight. I'm sitting on the couch, and he says, "Hey, count how many of these I do." And he literally got on his knees, and he would stretched all the way out. That's why he had abs. The guy had amazing abs. But he did 50. I couldn't do 3. That's a true story. So, while I'm honored to be here today in front of you talking about somebody that I love, I did not want to start writing Coach's eulogy, let alone finish it, which I couldn't do until today, because it brought finality to me, to a man that I love. But we'll always have to say at some time or another, we'll all have to say goodbye. Coach had a strong sense of humor, and he never lost it. On June 2nd, Auntie Jeannie texted me while I was in Waikoloa, stating, quote, "Nothing more doctors can do, and they're doing everything they can to make him comfortable for as long as he has." When I got that text, I raced back to Hilo. I went to the hospital. The first thing I said to him, he's laying in the hospital bed, I said, "Coach, you can't go yet. You got to see me get married." And he came back and he said, "Well, you better get married quick." One of the last things he said to me before he couldn't talk anymore was he wanted some water. So I put the sippy cup up to his mouth with a straw, and he took 2 sips. He then said, "Thanks, water boy." And he had this huge grin on his face. And you know, that 2 weeks or so in the hospital was a tremendous blessing, not only for me and his family, but for so many that came by and paid their respects and was able to say goodbye to Coach over those final weeks of his life. And he was able to pass with his family at his side. That's what I call picture perfect. So today we pay tribute and honor a Hawai'i treasure, a true icon and legend of a man, somebody that made a profound difference in the lives of thousands through the sport of basketball. In fact, we have many of his former basketball players here today. In fact, if you guys can stand up, a lot of them came from California, Texas. Come on, don't be shy, stand up. Yeah, Pat Fitzgerald, Bill Naylor, Jay the Bird, Matt Smith, Gilbert O. Hicks. And this is just a few of the tremendous legacies that he left. You know, he really did bring a lot of pride and recognition to our community and indeed the state of Hawaii. His legend and legacy will live on through all of the lives that he touched. Coach's life was truly a gift to all of us, and that gift is meant to be shared. In closing, if you'll indulge me one more time, stand if you can. Stand if you can. If you can't, that's fine. But if you can stand, stand. This was Coach's defensive teaching. Okay, spread your feet. Bend your knees. Okay. Feet spread, knees bent, back straight, looking great. I love and miss you, Coach. A hui ho.